The brain versus the subconscious. Who's going to win in the battle? So if we go back to the iceberg example, where we've got the small part of the iceberg coming out atop of the water and the rest is below. If the top part coming out is the brain and the ego and the bottom part is the subconscious, and we put numbers to it. So let's say the part coming out the top equals 5% of the whole iceberg and the part below the subconscious equals 95%. Your brain and your ego is going to try and convince you that that 5% is going to beat that 95%. It's never going to happen. And this is why people who try and use their thoughts to overcome an emotion fail with that process. It doesn't work. Or if people can do it, it's a very, very minority of people who can actually use a thought to overcome an emotion. When your button gets pushed and you feel an emotion, there is no thought process or rationale that's going to overcome that emotion. So what we need to do is we need to work on the emotional level. You can't use thoughts to solve an emotional problem. Well, you can, but the extent is thinking of what the solution is within the memory. But it's not a cognitive process. It's a very basic thinking process. To solve an emotional problem, you've got to use emotions. Emotions know how to talk to emotions. Thoughts and emotions are like oil and water. They don't mix. It's like Chinese and English. They don't really understand each other. So how do we do that? Well, if your brain and ego is the conscious mind, then your subconscious mind is like an interpreter. So our words and our thoughts, if we send them down into the subconscious will then turn them into an emotion. That emotion will then go to the emotion that we no longer want or we no longer have a use for, and it will start to dissolve it until it goes down in intensity or it's released completely.